Greetings, scholars. This week's teaching and learning will focus on reading. Today's topic is AKS 2, theme and its relationship to setting. I would like to teach you that readers can determine a theme of a text and analyze its development over the course of the text, including its relationship to the setting. One way they do this is by looking closely at the setting of the poem and asking, how does the setting impact the poem? And what lesson can be learned from the setting's impact? I would like to start off the lesson with a writing prompt to help us focus our thinking. A theme in Robert Frost's My November Guest is beauty can be found during the most desolate times. How does the setting impact the theme? So I'm going to model the strategies of how does the setting impact this poem and what lessons can be learned from the setting in order to answer this writing prompt. So let's review. Robert Frost's My November Guest. My sorrow, when she's here with me, thinks these dark days of autumn rain are beautiful as days can be. She loves to bear the withered tree, she walks the sod and pasture lane. Her pleasure will not let me stay, she talks and I'm fain to list. She's glad the birds are gone away, she's glad her simple worsted gray is silver now with clinging mist. The desolate desert trees, the faded earth, the heavy sky, the beauties she so truly sees, she thinks I have no eye for these, and vex me for reason why. Not yesterday I learned to know the love of bare November days before the coming of the snow, but it were vain to tell her so, and they are better for her praise. So as I was reading, how does the setting impact the poem? The setting takes place in November, and the author uses a lot of imagery to help the reader visualize November. All right. So, for example, the author uses the word desolate, deserted, and faded earth. All right. As well as birds are gone away. And he lets us know that the sodden pasture lane, it's dripping, is saturated with water. So these words, this imagery kind of draws to my mind of something that's gloomy, surpassed gloomy, maybe depression, sad, the way that he describes it. But the author also shows us that his guest really truly loves this time of year. The author uses such words as she loves, are beautiful, and the author provides examples of what she likes about this particular time of year. She loves the bare withered trees. She walks the sudden pasture lane. So she's outside walking in these saturated wet fields. Her pleasure will not let me stay. She talks and I'm fain to list. She's glad the birds are gone away, so she's actually glad that there's no birds outside chirping. And she's glad her simple worsted gray is silver now with clingy mist, meaning that she's happy that her gray sweater is damp with the clingy mist from outside. All right, so the setting's impact kind of emphasizes or highlights that even in a dark, desolate, sad, depressed time, people can find beauty during this time. All right. And I just answered what lesson can be learned from the setting's impact, that regardless of the time, if it's sad, depressed, there's always a way to find something beautiful in it. All right. So now on to me modeling how I answered the writing prompt. A theme in Robert Frost's My November Guest is beauty can be found during the most desolate time. How does the setting impact the theme? So again, I saw a contrast how the author describes November as basically being sad and depressed, but he also uses words like love and beautiful and pleasure. All right, so there was a contrast there. And my answer, the author seems to use a setting to emphasize which is the impact of the setting, that love can be found anywhere, especially during the season of death. Autumn is a season where trees have lost their leaves, the skies are gray, and animals are in hibernation. All vibrant life is gone. One would think that there is nothing during this time of year that would elicit love. However, the author explains or tells us what the guest loves about the autumn. The setting of my November guest provides a sharp contrast to the notion that love can only be found during times of happiness. Now that you've seen me model from Robert Frost's My November Guest, it is time for your independent practice. Go back and examine the setting in your poem. Ask yourself the following questions. How does the setting impact the story? And what lessons can be learned from the setting's impact? After examining the setting in your poem, answer the following prompt on the discussion board. In your independent reading text, how is the setting impacting the theme? Thank you.